Got an ex-Palantir guy here, $ PLTR. Uh, I'm a hodler. Um, it's not that common to get ex-Palantir guys appear, make appearances, but you were on the pharmaceutical side, right?
Yeah.
And can you kind of because this is a very mysterious company, can you kind of break down in layman's terms what they actually do and why so many investors are excited? Because I feel like there's a lot of retail investors that are just excited because others are.
Right.
They don't really know what goes on there. I mean, I'm somewhere along that spectrum myself. I think I watched a 40-minute presentation on their applications in life sciences, and I was sold
Yeah.
based off of that.
Yeah.
But the retail definitely did help inspire me to even go look like what this company actually does.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it was definitely interesting. I worked at Palantir during the direct public offering process, and it was pretty almost like a weird experience being like a company that really nobody ever talks about to being like lots of people are excited about it. But it's easy to understand where the mystery part comes from because Palantir just doesn't talk a lot about like what they do or who their customers are.
They have a lot of NDAs.
Yeah, and I think the general philosophy is like let the customers speak about Palantir if they want to, but it's not, especially Palantir originated working with sort of like governments and things like that, and obviously that's a lot of work that you can't talk about publicly, so it's just kind of baked into the culture and the marketing of the company. But I mean, at a high level, there's kind of two products that Palantir has. There's Gotham, which would be more like the government product, and there are parts of the product that kind of come off of that and kind of can be their own product. And then there's Foundry, which is more of the commercial products. So that's more the side that I worked on, and that Palantir works in every industry on the commercial side with Foundry. And so Foundry is the commercial product, and product-wise, it's really, I mean, it's pretty simple. At least in theory, the product is basically a platform for all of your data. And what makes it really special is that it's kind of designed to be an operating system rather than just a single thing, right? So it does kind of everything from pulling the data in, but then letting you actually process the data, all the way to making an app for every kind of person at your company, right? Imagine you're a big Fortune 500 company. You've got analysts that need certain kind of apps that are for more analysis things, but then you have people on the factory floor that need their own kind of apps. And what makes Foundry really special is that it has all of those things in one place. And so because of that, it's got a kind of reinforcing feedback loop where everything in the company gets faster and tighter because they're all working together instead of in 8,000 different platforms, right? So that's kind of what the product does, and it can be applied to all these different areas. So my partner in SelectIQ, Ethan, and I, we worked not just in pharma, but just general life sciences. So big pharmaceutical companies, but also government agencies that are working with patient data at a population level. And so obviously tons of data analysis that happens there, but then you have apps that you have to build to code patient records and things like that, right? So it kind of runs the gamut.
And so on the pharma side, because that's the only on the Foundry side.
Yeah.
That's where you worked, right?
Yep.
Some of the applications there that I guess lay people don't know about or can't see, some of it was label extensions. Others were retrospective trials virtually.
Yeah. I mean, I think you can just think of for big pharma companies and for governments and things like that, you have lots of data at a population level that you're trying to do interesting things with. And so a lot of it was trying to help sort of do exploratory analysis. Obviously, clinical trials are extremely expensive to run, as you know. And so really the question is just if you have a lot of data that you've collected for trials, what other useful things can you do with that data without having to spend another $1 billion in developing the next drug, right? So label expansion is a pretty popular topic in the pharma world. So are virtual control arms, which are basically taking a population that had a certain disease, but maybe they weren't in a particular study, or they were, in a different study than what you're trying to do, but you can maybe use that population to save you from having to get a real control arm for a study, which might be either prohibitively expensive or even ethically hard to get past an IRB. that's like a pretty popular topic, and I think the FDA is like starting to accept those more and more now. So yeah, it was kind of like, what can you do with the data that these big population services have? And at the government level, obviously, there's a lot of COVID work that we were involved with. There's a program at the NIH called N3C, which was doing like population level research on COVID at the NIH and trying to work with different organizations, hospitals, universities that are funded by the NIH, helping them collaborate on research as everyone's trying to get to the bottom of COVID and learn more about it as it was going on.
Do you recommend? Do you still own the stock?
Yeah, I own some Palantir stock.
Okay, so you're still bullish even though you don't work there anymore.
Yeah, I mean, obviously I'm not in the business of giving advice on
not
stock,
financial advice.
but yeah, I mean, I have some stock. I might sell some, I might not sell some, but I'm now that I've been out for 2 years now, or about 2 years, so I kind of learn everything the same way that everyone else does, watching the news and trying to interpret what Karp is saying in his interviews and stuff like that.
Yeah, which I'm gonna do later today, maybe if I have time.
Yeah, I'll have to send you some excellent Karp videos.
Okay. Well, thank you very much for your time, and I would appreciate it. LinkedIn is underneath below. Okay, for Jason's LinkedIn. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.